Hey, HR friends, welcome back. We're in the 5-2 emotional 6.5 day sequence. We're going to talk about day five. Day five is right here in this white rectangle. All right. Now, if this is your first forecast with us, strongly recommend back out of this video and scroll down and click on this and check out the overview for the 5-2. It breaks down these graphs and it's going to help you understand how we do these forecasts so you can keep up. All right, so let's get into day five here. Now, day five is actually got a little bit of turbulence going on in third person. You see, we've got a couple of little rollers that are setting off here. Nothing too major. Now, halfway through, we do reach this level 6 range here. First person, for the most part, not too concerning. We're resetting to zero as far as the electromagnetics go. So, defensive design of our bodies is not going to be highly agitated. Now, when we look at the combined, we can see that it starts at a 4, so that's at that level we start to get concerned with. It backs down, it peaks halfway through when these two 12-hour sequences come together, and then it kind of drops off again. So we've got a little loop-de-loo today. We're going to go up and we're going to come back down, but it's going to be relatively short. Now, day five is a continuation of day three and day four, where we've had no major polarity moments happening. Back in 2 and 1, we had some emotional and some mental polarity flips that were really holding the pattern up. Now, that's good news that day five is our third day of relatively smooth sailing. And when we get into 6, you can see that it's going to bump up and then the sequence is going to get a little tougher at the end here. So my advice is on days where this chart is running below the 4 for the majority of the time, this is when you want to come back and work through your stress that you haven't worked out with other people. Okay. Work that stuff out. Well, this pattern isn't elevated because working this out when the pattern elevates up to here or when the pattern's elevated here, that's the definition of insanity. Everyone is going to be hypersensitive. It's going to be difficult to stay calm and work through things and say it in a way and hear it in a way that is going to lead to positive results. That's the problem with our defensive design. So when we get these smoother days, definitely take advantage of them. All right, let's move down here and let's look at the testing structure today and see what's changed here in day five. So when we look at day 4, left upper extremity was being tested at a 4. That's going to continue into day 5. On the right upper extremity, day 4 was actually testing this quite a bit heavier. It's going to fall off. So if you were having right upper quadrant stuff yesterday, well, the good news is this. The gas pedal is going to come off a little bit. We're going to hit the brake and this is going to come down. Now, when one comes down, that means another one's going to go up. And you can see that left lower quadrant is the one that's really making a jump up here in day 5. All right, so when we look at the right lower quadrant, we can see that this one isn't really moving much either. Now, day 6, this is actually going to jump up, but in day 5, just more of what we already had in day 4. If you want to get through these governing frequencies with the least amount of aging and the least amount of damage that's going to cause the least severe diseases as you progress in age, then this is what you do. You commit to your team, and not just the one you were born into. You commit to every family, whether they live in your block or whether they live on the other side of the world. You have to understand that they're just as important as you and that they're an extension of the family we all come from. And you're expected to get along with all of them. Don't let your defensive design fool you into thinking that you don't have to get along with certain people. It's not true. Now, once you commit to getting along with everybody, and working through your differences with them, then what you have to do is you also have to commit to a routine that's going to leave this world a better place for every future family that's born into it. You see, where you're born now makes a big deal. If you're born in the United States versus if you're born in China, those are drastically different experiences. And that's because our choices and the way we treat each other, well, it has been unbalanced. And in the future, what we want is it doesn't matter where you're born in this world, you're going to have equal opportunity, and all the families and all the family members are going to have equal opportunity because what you invested while you were here. That's what happens when you commit to your team and you commit to working for your team. And that's how you be in perfect balance with these frequencies. And you don't have to worry about premature aging, disease, and you get to graduate when this simulated experience is over for you. If you don't do that stuff, what happens is these governing frequencies, they beat you up a bit. They're going to make you hurt. They're going to make you age faster, and they're going to make your experiences unpleasant. And then you got to come back here and do this some more until you decide you're a team player and you're willing to play for the team to make sure that all future teams are better off because of what you did with your time and energy while you existed in this simulated experience. All right, that's enough about that. Now we're going to talk about the Platonic Objective Master Key. So we have simplified this for you, okay? There are 64 things that you got to know what to do about, all right? And this is how easy it is to read this graph. So if you commit to the team and you are changing your routine to make sure every future family, no matter where they're born, is going to have a better experience because of you, you got no worries. And what these awarenesses are doing is they're just checking to see how balanced you are with your teammates and how balanced you are with your routines and how that's going to affect the future. The future for every future family and generation that comes after you. So, for example, the 8-4 wants to know how are your choices going to affect the future world? And how are your choices going to affect the mothers of the future world? Now, if you're unbalanced with teammates or you're not balancing so the world is going to be a better place, then the 8-4 is not going to be fun for you. And this one sits for the entire year. If you're having problems balancing to create a better future world, well, you're going to feel that in your left lower quadrant. So if you've been having 2024 has been a bad year for your left lower quadrant, now you know why. Now, if you're having problems balancing for future mothers, okay, then your issue is going to be in the right lower quadrant of your body. So in 2024, if your right lower quadrant has really been nagging you and you don't know why this year is different than the others, this is why. It's the 8-4. And it's telling you the way that you're doing business with teammates isn't going to leave future mothers a good situation. Okay? It's going to be unbalanced for them. So you might want to make some changes. All right. So next one we're going to talk about is where the micromental is sitting. This is a 7.5 day frequency. This has got a few more days here before this one's going to move. This is the 6-7, so it's testing to see how are the future families of the world going to do because of your choices, and how are the future nations of the world going to do because of your choices. Now, if they're balanced, you have no worries. If they're unbalanced, it'll tell you where you're unbalanced by where you're hurting your body. So if you're having problems making this future experience better for all the future families, well, then you're going to feel it in your right lower quadrant. Now, if your routine isn't going to leave all the future nations better off because of what you're investing in, then this is where you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it in your upper left quadrant. That's how that works. If you don't want to have pain, then what you have to do is you got to commit to your team and you have to balance your routines. All right, let's keep moving here. So this is the 6.5 day frequency. This is the emotional frequency, the capital E. It's the 5-2, and it wants to see, well, what's the future for individuals look like because of your choices and routine? And what's the future for the sons or the immature males of the world look like because of your investments in routine? Now, if you're doing good and you're leaving every individual better off because of what you're doing and every young male better off because of what you're doing, you got no worries. But if you're having problems with the individuals, well, then you're going to feel it in your upper left quadrant. And if you're having problems with the future sons, meaning how are you going to leave this for all those future immature males? Well, you're going to feel that in your left lower quadrant. What we've done here is we've connected the parts of your body that are connected to how well you're doing to make sure that all the future participants are better off. If you're unbalanced in your choice, well, you can't expect to have balanced health. That's what's causing your ill state. It's out of balance. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the P1. So this is the first 12-hour frequency. This is testing the 5-6. The 5-6 is all about how are we going to leave this world for individuals and how are we going to leave this world for individuals. It's doubling up. And this one is going to test you. So this is P1, and you can see it right here. P1 is going to test the left hip on both sides, individual, individual. Now, that just means that the way you conduct yourself, it doesn't matter if they're masculine, if they're feminine, what color their skin is, what their beliefs are. You treat everybody equal. If you're not one of those people, well, left quadrant's probably going to be feeling it. The more unbalanced you are, the more you're going to feel it during that 12-hour session. That's what it's trying to teach you. All right, so the second P, the second 12 hours of this 24 hours, that's the 7-5. This is checking to see how are the future nations going to look because of your choices and how are future families going to look because of your choices. You see how this just repeats itself again and again? It's just different combinations of the same thing, and it wants to know. Now, where this is going to affect your body, if future nations aren't better off because of your choices, well, you can expect to feel that in your right upper quadrant. And if you're having problems with making sure that future families are going to do well because of your choices, then you're going to feel that in your left lower quadrant. All right, so we broke it all down here and we kind of connected all the dots. And now you know why pain is shifting around in your body and what you're expected to do in this simulated experience. If you don't do it, obviously there's penalties. Okay, let's keep moving here. We got a couple alignments to talk about today. Now, these alignments are just amplified moments in time, and this is when two frequencies line up, and during these amplified moments, you're going to feel it a little bit more. So if you go to our homepage, we've got a live feed. There's a time bar that shows right where we are in this sequence, tells you where we are in all of this stuff as well. And as that time bar is going through here for this EE, if you feel it in your upper left quadrant, it's just letting you know you're not doing well with teammates. See, this blue side has to do with how we get along with our teammates. And this purple side, well, that has to do with how well we're balancing our routines, everything we already talked about up there. Now, whether they're older teammates or younger teammates, you got to be able to communicate, coordinate, work through stress, and make sure you're doing objective together, making sure that you're organizing and synchronizing your routines to make sure that the future existence of all families is better because of what you've done. If you're not doing that with any member of the team in today's alignment, specifically the older members, well, expect to feel a little bit more amplification during that time. Same thing here. We've got another one that's going on, this EE, that's the 4-hour one, so that's the purple one. And this is going to affect the left lower quadrant. This has to do with smaller routines. This is individual and family routine. Okay. All right. So it's not a super strong day of alignments, but if you happen to feel something during these times and it goes to these quadrants, it's just biofeedback. It's telling you you need to work on your teammate skills and it's telling you you need to balance your routines better. That's what we're trying to help you do here. All right. So here's the rest of the testing sequence for the 5-2. We got 5-5, our day 5 here. You can come down here. You can work through them all. You can see what the next day is going to be, day 6. And really what's changing here are these P1 and P2s. You can see day 6 is going to be drastically different than what we had here in day 5. This is day 5. This is day 6. Now you're starting to understand why every day feels a little different. Well, once you understand this pattern and you understand what it's trying to teach you, now you've got the power to feel good every day. All right, so down here we've got the alignment graphs. We talk about this every forecast too. So if you want to go forward to the different days to see when they're going to be strong alignments, because alignments, they definitely make it tougher, okay? That's worth knowing. Now we're ending this thing out. We always show you that we've got the rest of the electromagnetics posted too. No more mystery. We want you to know when this pattern is going to elevate so your defensive design stops manipulating your choices and making you suffer. We want you to stop suffering. We want you to get healthier. And most importantly, we want you to achieve this objective so you can get out of this synchronized hell. All right. See you in the next 24-hour post.